We all remember exactly how COVID-19 changed our world forever. The lockdowns, the overflowing hospitals, that collective anxiety, it's a shared trauma, right? It left a massive mark on all of us. Because of that, anytime a new viral threat makes the headlines, it is completely natural to feel that sudden, sharp spike of panic. Well, today our mission in this explainer is to objectively analyze one of those emerging threats, and we're going to look strictly at the data. Let's get right into it.
So recently, social media has been absolutely buzzing with whispers and rumors directly comparing hantavirus to COVID-19. And look, let's be totally honest here. Seeing those viral posts and flashy emergency headlines, it's terrifying. The anxiety you might be feeling is totally valid. But before we let fear take the wheel, we really need to ask an absolutely crucial question. Could hantavirus actually be the next COVID-19? Let's break down the facts and separate the actual science from the online hysteria.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. Two very different viruses. We're comparing the threats here.
To really grasp the risk, we've got to look under the hood at the biology. COVID-19, which is caused by a coronavirus, and hantavirus, they belong to entirely different virus families. It's like comparing apples and, well, completely different trees. What's really interesting here is the stark contrast in transmission. COVID-19 mainly spreads through respiratory droplets and close human-to-human contact. Hantavirus, on the other hand, relies heavily on environmental transmission. We're talking specifically about isolated contact with infected rodent droppings, urine, or saliva. That one singular difference literally changes the entire equation when we look at how a disease moves through a population.
Moving right along to Section 2, Spread versus Deadliness. Let's look at speed and severity.
You see, COVID-19 spreads so rapidly because one person could just unknowingly walk into a crowded room and infect dozens of others. It spread like wildfire. But hantavirus? It behaves very, very differently. Infection almost always requires direct contact with infected rodents or contaminated spaces. Because it relies on that environmental contact, outbreaks are typically small and isolated. Think a dusty old barn or a remote cabin, rather than a crowded city subway system. Because of this, experts generally agree that the risk of a global hantavirus pandemic remains far, far lower than COVID-19.
However, there is a much darker side to hantavirus that we absolutely cannot ignore. While COVID-19 infected millions and millions of people, a vast majority survived. But hantavirus? Some of the more severe strains of this disease kill more than 1/3 of infected patients. 33%. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a staggering, deeply serious fatality rate. It makes it an extremely dangerous pathogen once an infection actually manages to take hold in the human body.
So when we balance the scales and look at the big picture, the narrative is pretty clear. COVID-19 spreads significantly wider, reaching millions globally and causing massive, widespread disruption. But when we look at the fatality rate per individual case, hantavirus is significantly deadlier. One spread wider, the other is way deadlier per case. Both of them act as a really powerful reminder of just how vulnerable the human body can be against nature.
All right, Section 3. Fighting fear with facts. This is all about the power of knowledge.
Think back to the height of COVID, the fear, the panic buying, those wild online rumors. They spread almost as quickly as the virus itself, didn't they? The exact same thing is happening right now when isolated hantavirus cases pop up and videos go viral on your feed. But experts strongly warn against this kind of misinformation. As the saying goes, awareness is important. Fear without facts is dangerous. By understanding that this virus actually comes from specific rodent environments, not just from, passing someone in the grocery store aisle, we can stay calm, grounded, and properly prepared without giving into the hysteria.
That brings us to Section 4, Post-COVID Preparedness. Readiness in a New Era.
One major takeaway from the past few years is that COVID completely changed how the world responds to infectious diseases. Today, researchers have developed much stronger, highly advanced surveillance tools to track these dangerous evolving viruses. Scientists are monitoring outbreaks way earlier than ever before, and hospitals have dramatically improved their emergency response systems. Look, nature never stops evolving, and new diseases will inevitably appear. That's just a basic fact of biology. But we have far, far better tools today to catch them before they spiral into global disasters.
Which leads us nicely into Section 5, How to Stay Safe. Let's talk simple precautions. And this brilliantly illustrates that you actually have a lot of power to neutralize this risk yourself. Health experts have laid out some very practical, everyday precautions that literally anyone can follow to protect themselves and their families. First up, avoid contact with wild rodents altogether. Just stay away. Second, seal up any holes in your homes or cabins where mice might try to sneak in.
Third, always use a heavy disinfectant when cleaning up droppings. Seriously, never sweep them dry because that just kicks the viral particles right up into the air. Fourth, wear masks and gloves in dusty, enclosed areas. And finally, keep your food sealed properly so you avoid attracting rodents in the first place. Simple, right?
Now, beyond prevention, this next point is absolutely vital. Never, ever underestimate unusual symptoms if you suspect you've had possible exposure to contaminated areas. Let's say you've just cleaned out an old dusty shed, and a week later you start feeling severely unwell. You need to tell your doctor about that specific activity immediately. Early medical attention is absolutely crucial with hantavirus. It can and it does save lives.
Ultimately, remember this simple truth. Knowledge is stronger than fear. Viruses might be invisible to the naked eye, and hantavirus definitely reminds us that deadly dangers still exist quietly in nature, hidden away in forests, barns, and abandoned places. Honestly, most of us will never even encounter it, but staying informed and staying prepared, that is our ultimate defense against the unknown.
After exploring the real facts behind hantavirus and looking at our new upgraded tracking systems, I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. Is the world genuinely better prepared for future outbreaks after COVID-19? We've learned the hard way that the next outbreak can begin anywhere at literally any time. But we also have better tools than ever before to fight back. So, what do you think? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Drop your thoughts in the comments, stay curious, and keep learning.